Good evening, everyone. This is Tuesday, September 18th, 2018. It's the Town of Monroe Planning Board regular meeting. Lori, would you please take roll call?
Anthony Vaccaro.
Here.
Lisa McQuaid.
Here.
Rich Triano is not. Bonnie Franson. Here. James McKnight.
Present.
Jason Swirinski.
Here.
Jeff Manson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Let's all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We are in the senior center. Sorry about that, George. We're in the senior center, and the fire exits are located to the back right over by the kitchen, the main entry where everyone comes in, and there's an additional fire exit behind me, my left. With that, the first item on the agenda is Bald Hill Estates. I believe we're to review a resolution. So, Mike, do you want to give us an overview of
Yeah, we
what you put
talked
together?
at the work session about the several time deadlines that exist under the current site plan provisions. The one that's invoked here is an applicant has 180 days from the date of an approval to satisfy the conditions of that approval. That date should properly be measured, I think, from the filing of the decision in the office of the town clerk, because that's really what starts the clock. The planning board is permitted to give one additional extension of 180 days. As you discussed at the work session, you were then inclined to grant that 180-day extension. This resolution would accomplish that. You'll notice that the resolution of approval was filed in the office of the town clerk on April 18th, 2018. The 180 plus 180, or 360 days, would expire on April 13th, 2019. That happens to be a Saturday, and the general construction law, when a date falls on a Saturday or a Sunday, it is automatically extended to the following Monday, which would be April 15th.
Okay. Has everybody had an opportunity to review the resolution?
Yes.
Yes? No? Okay, you want a minute?
Sure, thank you.
Are these the extensions for site plan approval? Okay.
It was a final site plan approval.
And then there is also a subdivision approval associated with this as well, but that doesn't
But
require...
that doesn't, well, I think that also had a 180-day provision, but that can be extended throughout. But you're right, we should carry it in conditional, well, it just says conditional final approval. And conditional final approval, I can add site plan and subdivision in both the whereas clause and the decretal paragraph.
Yeah, I think to extend it properly if we need to.
So we'll add site plan and subdivision approvals.
Any wetland, I don't recall if there were wetland permits or anything else that would need to be extended, but I think at least site and subdivision.
I didn't bring the resolution with me, so I don't remember.
I don't have it either.
You don't have it
I can't
either?
remember off the top of my head.
Do you have a question?
No, I'm good.
Are you good?
Just
Okay.
to make a note, I couldn't get access to my email. So
I believe several
difficult
people are
review,
having, the problem. Okay. So with that, so we're going to make an adjustment to the resolution just to make reference where appropriate to its conditional final subdivision and site plan as well. So we were definitely at the final subdivision phase of this?
Yes.
Okay.
And the date is not the 15th, it's the...
No, it is.
It is,
okay.
it is the 15th.
Thanks.
All right. May I have a motion to approve the resolution?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. A second?
Second.
Noreen, will you take a roll call?
Anthony Vaccaro.
Aye.
Lisa McQuaid,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
James McKnight,
Aye.
Jason Serwinski,
Aye.
Jeff Manson.
Aye.
With that, the motion carries. Thank you all. The next item on the agenda is Sherry Torah temporary school trailers. Good evening.
Good evening.
So John, when you're ready, you've made adjustments to the map.
Yes,
So if you want to go through what changes have been made?
sure. Good evening, everyone. John Queenan from Lane Cantelli Engineering, engineer for the applicant. As you know, we were before you Thursday, a short time ago, with a proposal for extension of the temporary trailers for the girls' school located at the existing Sherry Torah property on Larkin Drive. Based upon our discussions that we had at the work session, I revised the map a couple different ways, but the biggest change was that we've reduced the size of the expansion to conform to the section of the code that only required that we could have 5 trailers, and each trailer could only be 24 by 36. So we reduced the total square footage down to 4,320 is now the proposed expansion. And that's the shaded gray rectangle you see on that map there.
Okay.
Same orientation as we had before, except the footprint now is smaller to conform to that section of the code. I also depicted the relocated play area, and you'll see that kind of coming off the back of the shaded gray. It's almost like trapezoidal in nature, with the fence boxes around. It's equivalent to the same size as the existing play area that they have now.
Okay. So it's now this squared off area for the members who can see the,
That's correct.
okay.
We've also taken the sand boxes that were located in the southern portion of where the expansion is going to be, and relocated them inside the play area, just to clean that up a little bit.
I see that. And this one? These will be obviously removed because you're putting a walkway in?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. And then we've shown 2 ingress and egress doors on either end of the proposed trailers, just to meet fire code for access. And we've also extended 2 paved walks to those locations.
Where are the access doors? I'm not seeing those. Are they shown on the plan?
The doors, yeah, you see where it,
I
see where it
see
says proposed paved walk, and then it turns, and then there's, it looks like a little staircase.
Okay, so it's not actually called out, but you're showing where the location is?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
We've added, Mark Etzel had added, he wanted like a note that referenced the prior site plan and that this was only an amendment, so I put a general note on there, and I'm assuming, when Mark returns, we'll go through the final design of this and we'll clean up that note. That's in the lower right-hand corner of the map.
Over here?
Right there.
Okay.
And we've noted that the existing fence will be reused, and if it cannot be reused, the new fence will be replaced in kind with a wooden fence.
In kind, okay.
Yep. And we put that note is up in right on the upper right-hand corner where the fence is on the site plan. And
I did see that. That's
Yep.
over
Up and to the right. Yep,
this way,
right
right? Okay.
And to address the comment that we were getting a little bit closer to Larkin Drive, since we had to reduce the size of the trailers, we basically pulled in the recreation area associated. So we're well over 100 feet from Larkin Drive now.
And that's still within the grassed area, correct?
That's correct.
No trees will be removed?
No.
Okay. And let's take a look at, did you add or change any of the notes associated with the plan? I don't know if you needed to, but I'm just...
I don't think no, I don't believe that, that we did.
Okay.
Basically just added the note that Mark wanted, as well as the signature box.
Okay. Sean, have you had an opportunity to take a look at this plan?
Just now,
Okay.
yeah.
Mark got the email, so I didn't get the email.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
realize today Mark wasn't coming.
Okay. From your perspective, did Mark go over the changes, what he thought would be the changes?
Yeah, I have his comments that he cleaned up from Thursday's meeting.
Okay.
Generally, I'd like to say that they're okay.
Okay.
Obviously, I haven't looked at everything yet, but,
There is a resolution condition that requires his
Yeah.
sign off on that, and John's already indicated he's willing to meet with him to make sure it gets cleaned up.
Yeah, I was thinking that we could add as a condition that it has
there.
to, right, with the town engineer and as per the memo, make any changes that were raised. Were there any other changes or comments or questions about the application from anybody? I know we went over it last time. I don't know, based on these revisions, whether anybody has comments on this layout.
No, it looks code compliant. It's still subject to the engineer's review, so I'm satisfied by that.
Okay,
My question is more or less about the resolution, but we'll get there when the time comes.
okay. Actually, one quick question again. Remind us how utilities will be provided to the trailers. Are they on?
They're on
Public water?
public water, public sewer.
Okay.
And basically, these trailers will hook into the existing services through the existing trailers.
Do they require any permits?
I don't believe so, since it's already a permitted facility.
Okay, so an expansion doesn't necessarily require permit, not aware?
There's going to be bathrooms inside the trailers?
They're going to use the existing bathrooms in the existing trailers. These are for classrooms and office.
How many people fit in a trailer?
Well, the old trailers, it was going to be about 120. So the new size would be determined by the building inspector.
Did he determine the 120, or that was just an estimate?
That was an estimate based on the square footage that we had at the old layout.
Okay. Can we also condition this on the occupancy being stated as a note on the plan, a maximum occupancy?
Sure, we can include it there. The strange part of what John said, and I agree with him, normally building inspectors fix occupancy, but the
Right.
code section requires the planning board to set the occupancy. I
Right.
think perhaps it might be wiser to defer to the building inspector. We do have a requirement in the code that the occupancy limit has to be noted on the temporary permit, which is issued by the building inspector, and posted on each trailer. So certainly it's, like occupancy limits frequently are, it has to be there.
Right. The issue is that we haven't spoken to the building inspector. Do you feel that, were they anticipating 100 max, or is there any sense of the total number of students now that it's been downsized?
I was not able to go over that with the applicant.
Okay.
So I couldn't tell you for certain.
Okay,
I would assume it's probably going to be less than 120.
okay.
Just because of the reduction, but I don't know how it's calculated through the building department, how they do that. It's not my area of expertise.
I'm wondering, so could it in theory be more, or they knew that they only wanted to accommodate 120 at the
They
time?
knew that they only wanted to accommodate 120,
Okay.
so I don't believe it would be more.
Can we then establish as a condition that the occupancy shall be 120 or a lesser amount if so determined by the building inspector?
Sure. The requirement of the code is that you do it per trailer, but we can say that the maximum occupancy of each trailer shall be fixed at X number of, shall be fixed, by the Town of Monroe Building Inspector, but in no event shall the total occupancy exceed 120 persons.
Okay. Is
That's-
that reasonable, everybody? Okay. Because we are supposed to establish an occupancy, and we just want to make sure that,
Understood, and that's
there are
fine.
limitations so that it's for the safety of the children.
Correct, no?
John?
Sean?
The existing trailers that are there, that portion is made up of 11 different trailers, if I understand correctly?
Correct.
Do you know what the dimensions of those individual trailers are? I had a chance to go by yesterday. I'm just trying to, I guess, visualize compared to the new trailers and what that's going to be like
I
in
think-
that space.
Excuse me, Bonnie, give me 1 second. Can you scroll over to the site plan again?
Sure.
Just do my quick math here for you.
Are you looking primarily for the building, or?
Just general layout. While
okay.
the
Let me just
discussion goes
zoom out a
on.
little bit here.
Those trailers are about 12 by 60.
So they're much longer, but they're much narrower than the...
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
Odd. I think I have to bring it up again. Yeah, I don't know why I did that. Just decided that's, okay, there we go.
Bonnie,
All right.
if I may.
Yes.
I see this, I don't know if Mark was aware that there was water and sewer in these trailers, so I see the sewer shown on here, but the water's not. I think it'd be useful to have that on there as well.
Okay, so to include a water line?
Sure.
Okay. So the sewer line is shown, but you'd like the water line illustrated?
Right.
Okay, we'll add that, because I don't know if that's covered by the memo, so, just so that we could say all water and sewer utility
Right.
lines serving the temporary trailer shall be shown on the plan. Is the board comfortable with reviewing and moving on with the resolution? Yes? Yes?
The resolution is already filled in here. We didn't vote on this yet.
No.
It's filled in.
No, this is for your review. We may vote tonight.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? I copied the table from another resolution. Sorry, I didn't realize it had the X's in there. Ignore it.
Okay.
Jane, can you hand me the packet from Rich's desk?
In general, I did outline in the email covering the resolution, a couple of comments. I'll add another one now. The plan set, the last revision date is September 14th. It wasn't in the resolution, it was August 30th, so I will update it to September 14th.
Okay.
But as noted, there's two aspects to this. One is the extension of the existing trailers, which were set to expire this year. And the resolution makes provision that the same 3-year limitation that exists to the new trailers shall cover the life of the existing trailers, and they'll all come to an end at the end of that 3-year time period.
Okay.
I mentioned that we're waiving the public hearing, that it's a type 2 action under SECRA.
So, just quick with the public hearing. So this is under temporary trailers as its own section, and I think, does it say the planning board may hold a public
Yeah, actually,
hearing?
for site plans, it may hold a public hearing.
Okay, so we're actually not waiving.
Not waiving it.
Okay,
Okay. I'll change it to say no public hearing was held. You're right.
thank you.
Mark sign-off letter, and we'll talk about that language in a moment. Conditions 2 to 4 echo the map note that Mark has required on the plans, and frankly, I think I'll add some of the language from that map note to the resolution condition. But the idea is that this is one site, the matzah oven, the permanent school, the temporary trailer site, and all of the provisions and conditions that will apply to it in terms of traffic circulation, bus pickup areas, everything applies to this, even though all those things are not shown on the plans. They're incorporated. The actual temporary permit is issued by the building inspector, not by this board, but you have to grant the authorization for him to issue that, and that's condition number 5. We talked about the maximum occupancy. I'll read that condition in a moment. And condition 7 and 8 covers what I mentioned before, which is that the existing trailers are also extended for another 3-year period. So in the resolution on page 2, I've inserted the updated revision date of September 14th. Condition number 1 is Mark's sign-off, and I will say in accordance with this review memo of September 18th, 2018, and I will add the water and sewer line serving the temporary trailer shall also be shown on the plans. 2 and 3 we've discussed. 4 I mentioned as well, but I want to make sure that enforcement authority is given for any violations. 5 is the authorization to the building inspector I've reworded 6 to read, "The maximum occupancy of each trailer shall be fixed by the Town of Monroe Building Inspector, but in no event shall the total occupancy exceed 120 persons." I made no other changes to the resolution tonight.
Do you think we need to clarify or specify in 6 with regard to the occupancy that it's for the new trailers? That the 120 doesn't include the old trailers, that was
No.
for the new trailers.
Correct, all right. Each new trailer for within the newly authorized trailers.
Right. I mean, I think it's okay to say each trailer shall meet all other applicable. That should apply to both. I mean, that's just a matter of code, I think. And then a general question, so that driveway had some pretty big potholes in it. Is there any way to, I mean, I don't know if it's continuing obligation to maintain the site plan in a certain, the site or site plan in a certain condition. And the only reason I bring it up is that, you know, it's the access in and out, and they're not that big that it would affect, I don't think, an emergency vehicle, but it really should be kept in good maintenance and order. So is it,
I can add to condition 4.
okay,
That no trailer permit shall be issued by the building inspector until he's satisfied with the condition of the roadway surfaces.
okay. I think that's reasonable.
It saves my car.
He saves your car, saves mine too.
I think it's, after what I observed yesterday, I think it's actually important. I was thinking the same thing. And since they're entertaining the idea of the pools, and the long-term goal is that this space become a building for the boys' school,
Right,
all the more important.
right. So I think that's just it should be a continuing obligation.
That's fine.
Any other comments or questions?
Numbers 7 and 8,
Yes.
as far as the previous trailers, should we maybe clarify it more? I mean, I didn't know when those trailers expired, the existing trailers. So is there, maybe should we add to this, like, the date of the expiration of those trailers and that it is a renewal? Because
The problem is the 3 years run from the filing of the resolution in the office of the town clerk, and we don't know that date.
okay.
We could take a guess that it's going to be Monday and then put a date certain.
Because we didn't talk about this at the workshop. I mean, I think it's good that it's listed, because I was wondering when those older trailers would expire, if there was an expiration on them.
I think they're expiring right now, this
Yes,
month.
this month.
Okay.
So you'd suggest that
Well,
just a date
I
certain
mean-
be provided so that we would just make sure it gets filed on Monday? So then we would have a date certain if we
Well, they're
file.
both are lumped in with the term, the old trailer, the new trailer. Should we, maybe separate it more to specifically say, the old trailers that expire on this day, we're going to renew along with the new trailers? It's just a thought.
Right. Well, I think we know that all the trailers will expire on the same date, within 3 years.
Okay,
I was
so
going to say, you could just
maybe
pick,
we
you
should
could just pick a
clearly have
generic
that
date to
stated.
say October 1st of 2021.
Well, next Monday is what, the 24th?
Yes.
Yes.
So
Yes.
we'll say September 24th, 2000, what is this, 18, 19, 21?
21.
Just checking. So I'll
Trying to get
actually
another year
insert
in
the-
there.
I'll insert the date in 5. This resolution authorizes the building inspector to issue temporary permit for no more than 5 trailers for a period not to exceed a total of 3 years, to expire on September 24th, 2021. And then, when we make reference to the 3-year period in the later sections, we know what date we're referring to.
Thank
And
you.
then on 8, then it's clear that upon expiration of the 3-year duration, all surface improvements shall be removed in cessation of the temporary religious school. That includes the trailers, the new and old. 8? Or is that covered in a different
Sure.
condition?
I'll put including the old and new trailers.
Okay.
All right, Bonnie, that was my question. I was wanting to make sure I was understanding 7 and 8 correctly in that way.
Right, I believe that's what you had indicated, right?
I'll
Mike?
add it here.
Okay.
I do these things just so you have a chance to participate.
Thank you, Mike.
Thank you.
So on 8, we're going to make clear that the 3-year duration applies to both the existing and the new
I'll
trailers.
put upon expiration of the 3-year duration of this approval, all surface improvements, including the old and new trailers, shall be removed, and cessation of the temporary religious school use shall be required. Okay?
Okay.
Is,
Oh, go ahead. No, that was me. Go ahead.
at the end of 8, it says unless further extended by this board.
I can leave it out.
I-
Actually, you can't.
Wouldn't
because
that be
it's an
referred to this-
You're right. It's
Right.
a-
I think it
Or
would
just
require a
put-
variance at that point.
Could we cross out by this board? Because didn't we say it could be extended by the zoning board,
That's
perhaps?
right, yeah, that's what I
Right.
was going to say.
Or should we not even address it?
I'll just say shall be required, period.
Yep.
And they can always, they still have the rights to do
The
whatever
code
they
says
wanna
what the
do
code
anyway.
says, and they can get what relief they can get.
That's what I was just going to ask.
All right.
Right, because I believe at the last meeting, we discussed the fact that if they want to do 5 years, it's always within their ability to go seek a variance. Okay. But as far as we're concerned and what we're allowed to approve 3 years, and that's it.
Because it's explicit, not to exceed 3 years.
Right. Good catch. Any other comments?
I'm just, sorry, because I'm a little late to this game, wasn't at the workshop, but what's the lighting conditions on the site?
I didn't hear his question.
Are the trailers lit?
Exterior lighting, outdoor lighting.
I think there are a few, I'll call them wall packs near the doors. There's no actual, site parking lot lighting or anything in that location.
I think I took pictures, but I
Yeah, in
don't
the
know.
plans from 5 years ago, when that was originally approved, there is a lighting, it is wall packs. It's a little light on lighting, so to speak, in my opinion, but will additional lighting be provided around the new perimeter?
I wasn't proposing any, but the building code would probably at least require that a wall pack would be above the egress doors.
So if a wall pack's required, we want something that's downlit? Can we have a cutoff?
Yeah, they have the cutoff shields, correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, because we actually say no outdoor amenities or accessory structures or outdoor fixtures may be constructed, except as shown on the approved
On the
site
plan.
plan without approval of the building inspector or the planning board. Maybe we should just, the only thing we give allowance for the,
Well, either that or I could just add it, I have to add the water line, so I could add 2 wall pack locations at the doors.
okay, and then Mark and Sean, you can review and make sure that it's full cutoff.
If I remember correctly, there were 2 wall packs along the back, which
Yes.
will, which will now be inside the building, so.
Yeah, and I think there's one over by the ramp, if I wasn't mistaken, but yeah. go ahead.
And not only that, for vertical cutoff, but just in terms of safety for, pedestrian access and traffic moving.
How late are they there in general? Are they there,
I think till 6 o'clock.
okay, so during the winter then, they would need the lighting?
Yeah, they would need the light.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anthony, any other,
Not right now, no.
not this time? Everybody?
Anthony, did you want to see what the lighting looks like now? I do have that with me.
As far as a picture, or?
Yeah, and it designates how far out each, you get foot candles. Yeah, it is. So there's 6 wall packs currently, 2 on each end where the entrances are, and then 2 along each of the long walls.
Yeah, so what we would end up doing is
And
adding.
this is,
Yeah, that's the,
so right in close, it's
Candle-
20-foot
candela.
candles, and then it falls off from there pretty rapidly.
yeah, usually the wall packs don't project light usually out. It's down because you're at doorway locations.
Is there usually a minimum intensity?
It depends
For
on
building-
what you're looking for. I mean, I would say usually between 3 to 5 at the actual door location, and then from there you want it to drop off fairly quickly.
Okay. All right, that's reasonable if it's 3 to 5.
Yeah.
All right, so you'll show that on the plan with that kind of a spec?
Yeah, we can put the actual unit right on with the candle, just like, I guess, the prior approval.
I mean, I would assume that the playground area wouldn't be used after dark.
No.
Or lighting there would be a consideration.
Right.
Okay.
Sounds good. Any other comments? Lisa, you're good
I'm
at
good,
this
thank
point? Jason?
Satisfied.
Okay. Jim?
Good.
All right. Anthony?
I'm good.
Okay. So we added that lighting condition as well. So I will make a motion to approve the resolution. Is it really I'm sorry, is it really a site plan, or is it for, I don't know
Well,
how,
the
it's
way
not
the
like a
code-
site plan, is
Well, there
it?
is a site plan.
Okay,
For the temporary trailers.
Right.
We're amending it to allow the addition of these other trailers
okay.
and authorizing a permit by the building inspector. I don't know what
Okay.
else we can call it.
Yeah, I mean, so we're approving and authorizing the building inspector to issue a temporary trailer permit. So, but,
But we're
okay,
also
but we're still
amending
amending
the earlier site plan
the, okay,
approval to extend it.
okay. All right, so I make a motion to approve the resolution before us, subject to the revisions that we have discussed this evening. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Noreen, could you do a roll call vote?
Anthony Vaccaro,
Aye.
Lisa McQuade,
Aye.
Bonnie Franson,
Aye.
James McKnight,
Aye.
Jason Swinsky,
Aye.
Jeff Manson.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
All right. So with that, we have one final agenda item, which was prescient on my part. I may not have been here given my foot injury. So I had talked to the supervisor. He indicated that we are able to appoint an acting chair in the event that I am absent and can't conduct the meeting. So based on input and those who indicated any interest in serving this position, I would like to nominate Jeff Manson to be the acting chair, if he will accept.
I would.
Okay. Any comments?
Hey, Jeff does his homework. I mean, he brought plans from 5 years ago. I think that's pretty impressive.
It is. All right. So I'd like to make a motion to appoint Jeff Manson as the acting chairperson in my absence. May I have a second?
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions?
Is Jeff abstaining?
With that, with that, the motion carries. So we have an acting chairperson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Anything we need? Mike, Sean, you don't have anything else for the agenda? Members, anything you want to bring up? There is going to be an Orange County Planning Federation series, I think, of training sessions. So I sent it to Noreen. She may have already sent it to you.
I had already gotten it, I think it already went out to their email, but if they're not getting their emails,
Okay. So be aware. You may want to look on, I think they have a website.
they do.
Okay, so that you could check dates in the event you need any additional training credits for this year.
They also had their annual dinner, and I think the speaker is from the DOT on the interchange.
Okay, yeah, that's, I believe
Yeah.
that's coming up. Right. So with that, may I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I'll second that. Or I'll make the motion.
You'll make it.
Second.
Wait, Jason's making the motion.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Jim is seconding.
I thought Bonnie had made it.
That was not sure.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. Motion carries. Meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Take care of yourself.